Welcome back to Stories from the Nest. Today I'm chatting with someone who's worn multiple hats, from sales to advertising to digital strategy, and built teams, campaigns, and credibility across continents. Along the way, he's picked up Cannes lines, traveled to 37 countries, shifted from a free spirited US lifestyle into UAE discipline, stepped into fatherhood recently, and somehow finds time to add watches to his collection. And through all of that, still walks into early birds every week with that same steady, grounded energy. This conversation isn't about titles, it's about the person behind the journey. Let's welcome Varun Suri. Welcome back, Varun.
Thank you, Dr. Sijo. So happy to be here.
Varun, with so many hats already worn, the salesman, the ad guy, the digital strategist, which version of Varun actually scared the competition the most? And don't say all of the above.
I think it would have to be all of the above. But nonetheless, I'll give you an answer. I think it's the salesman. I've always been very, very close to sales ever since I started, irrespective of the company I worked with, the brand I worked with. Apart from being in the media industry, I've worked with a couple of brands, couple of consulting companies. So it's always been sales, and that's been true to me, irrespective of the next role that I've taken, and I'm sure that's going to continue to grow.
Back in your B school days at New York, you won Networker of the Year and ran a 500 student association. What powered that streak? Pure hustle, smart relationships, or the New York rule of survival? Keep moving or get run over.
Actually, none of the above. When I was in school and then in university in India, I never had the opportunity to actually level up and run an organization, take extra part in extracurricular activities, um, be such a flamboyant networker. So it was something that had to come at some point in time. And the moment I reached university, I knew that this was probably going to be the last time I was going to study, and I wanted to make sure that I could take the opportunity to do this. So it was done by vote. We lobbied, we got people, and eventually I won a certain position.
Take me to that Cannes moment, the Operation Smile campaign, winning both gold and silver. When the announcement hit, did you pull off the calm, classy, Ogilvy approved nod, or was there a full Bollywood celebration happening internally? What was that Smile campaign all about?
So it basically was a social campaign that we did for Operation Smile, their NGO, and were our clients at the time in Ogilvy. We wanted to try to see how we could make a difference, and this campaign involved a mnemonic, it involved a large scale video, it involved an outreach, and eventually getting fantastic results for them. There were two things that stood out for me in that. One was the opportunity to give back by working on this campaign. And the second, as a junior in Ogilvy at the time, I had the opportunity to work with the late Piyush Pandey very closely, since he was someone who was leading the entire client relationship at the time. So it was very, very special. To answer your question, yes, we celebrated, and we celebrated in a fantastic way, both the Ogilvy way and the Bollywood way.
Building teams across India, the US, and the UAE is no small journey. Which market pushed you to level up, and which one made you question every life choice you've ever made?
That's a deep one. I think building it in India and the UAE is very similar. I think the US was a little bit of an outlier because purely because there is there is a lot of reliance on single resources or single people that you hire. So you have to be a little bit more efficient. But within India, within the UAE, I think there's a lot of similarity within the market. In India, when I was working there, it was when I was far more junior. I didn't have the opportunity to scale teams. Coming to the UAE at the certain position that I did, I had the opportunity to really scale. So I think that's been the journey as far as that goes.
Between your road trips and your paddle marathons, which one fills your soul and which one empties your wallet faster than a holiday sale?
I think both. But the I think the road trips, for sure. Both me and my wife love doing it. And sometimes, to be honest, it's far more expensive than just taking a flight across. But it's the experience that we'd like to do. My parents inculcated that habit when we were growing up. So thoroughly enjoyed. Paddle for me is purely something where I can leave my mind behind more regularly on a weekly basis. So I love it.
Which was the longest road trip you took?
The longest one we took was going from the East Coast to the West in the US. That's the longest one we've done. Of course, there are many that are on our list, and hopefully we'll be able to do them soon.
Those Friday idea jam sessions of yours sounds dangerous fun in a way. What's the wildest idea that's come out of them? The one you thought was genius or the one you immediately banned from all future conversations? Every team has that one.
Yeah. No, honestly speaking, it's the most fun thing that we do. It's something that we've tried to do even in my previous organization, and it's I think cultural. Or one of the greatest ideas we had at the time, which we thought was great, was actually trying to implement the testing culture of cars by a government organization in India. Just the same way it's done in the US, it's done in Europe, it's done here in the UAE. And then we tried to bounce that off this particular government organization that we were representing, and they thrashed it so badly that we realized that we couldn't we could never think of doing something like that again. But that was just out of the window so quickly.
Something personal. Fatherhood kicked in this July. How is the new role going for you? And what rhythm have you and Rashi figured out while racing Shiv and running two full time careers? Because honestly, I know some new dads who are completely lost, walking around like they are still buffering. What is your take?
Oh, we're also lost. We're also buffering. But I think it's such a beautiful thing. We try to spend so much time with him. Obviously, for us, that's priority number one, and the work that we do is equally important. So the only thing that's really taking a toll is the sleep, and he decides when we should sleep more and when we should sleep less.
After your free spirited US chapter, landing in UAE must have felt like switching from freestyle jazz to orchestra. How easy was it to adapt to the UAE rhythm, the pace, the structure, the precision, etc.?
Actually, it's not exactly like that. I think the culture here is fantastic. Like I said earlier, it's a lot like how it is in India, and partly because of the population presence that we have here from the subcontinent. I don't think there was a big cultural difference as far as that goes. The UAE has been a fantastic place to work. Clients love scale, and if you can be a performer, an agency, or a brand that can provide them with that, I think you'll always be in good stead with them.
Stepping in as lead visitor host, you genuinely lifted the whole room. What part of the role surprised you the most, and what new doors opened beyond the usual BNI referrals?
I absolutely love doing that role, and this simple reason is that it gave me an opportunity to really interact with the visitors. We think that members can give you business, can give you referrals, but we totally discount the average of at least 2 to 3 visitors that come every week. If you take a total of that, that's 100 plus in a year. You don't know how much business can come from them if you can really bond with them. So I think that pure connect and the opportunity to create that relationship with them is what I absolutely loved about the leadership role.
You did an amazing job, man.
Thank
Seriously. Back to early birds, what stood out for you? The structure, the accountability, or the way this room refuses to let anyone stay average? And along the way, what's been the biggest learning and the biggest deal you have closed, if you can tell us that?
Sure. So I think that it's a bit of everything, but I'll give you an answer. For me, I think it's the seat value. It's one of the largest within the region, and something that I think all members are extremely proud of. And that gives me a lot of pleasure because I feel that I hold value within the room. So it's something that I know I want to be accountable for, and I can see that everybody in the room is equally accountable and respectful of that particular milestone. In terms of the largest deal for me, I think it was an introduction to a retail client. We got an introduction to one brand, and from there, we've been able to scale to 7 or 8 brands, which have become retail businesses for us, retainer business for us, within the organization.
And now, finally, complete this for us. BNI for me is give one version from the heart and one version your marketing brain secretly wants to say.
I think the version from the heart would be the backbone, for us, for Pivot Roots, and for me personally. And the version that's from the marketing playbook would be that this is my sales force.
Excellent. And that wraps up our conversation with Varun. From India to New York to Dubai, from advertising flows to fatherhood, his journey is a reminder that growth doesn't have to be loud. It just has to be consistent. Thank you very much, Varun, for sharing so openly. And for everyone listening, we'll see you in the next episode of Stories from the Nest, Voice of Early Birds. Stay tuned. This is Dr. Sijo Mathews signing off with Varun Suri from Pivot Roots.